director of the Courtney Medical Group, located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray, Pennsylvania. For more information or to make an appointment, call 724-942-3002. That's 724-942-3002 for Dennis J. Courtney, MD.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to AIM Impact on Your Health. AIM Impact on Your Health, where every day our goal is to have you learn at least one thing to help you live better and longer. AIM Impact on Your Health, heard each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9 o'clock. I'm Dr. Dennis Courtney, and I'm with you each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9. AIM Impact on Your Health, where each day you'll find current medical news, knowledgeable guests, and fascinating health topics, and of course, where we do encourage you to call in to join in today. Today we have had fish oil on the mind for a number of weeks. I'm responsible for it. I don't know whether to apologize or step up and be proud. I don't know how you may take it all, but a whole bunch of information, very important health information, has been wedged and lodged inside of these shows. And today I think is a good day to try to pull it all together to try to, hopefully have you see the roadmap that I originally intended to lay out for you. Hopefully you've been able to gather and garnish the little scientific morsels that should lead you to some conclusions. Maybe you're still confused. I'm going to hopefully try to get you out of your confusion. You may want to help out today if you are confused, or if you're unconfused, or if you just have an opinion about this whole fish oil debacle. Feel free to call in today as we try to straighten it out, pull it all together, as I say, on the fish oil controversy today. Now, the number to get on in some of this is the standard number here. You know it very well, 412-825-6262. 412-825-6262. I'll be listening for a knock on the door, and when I hear, I'll let you in the store. Now, up and coming, hey, she'll be back on Wednesday, folks. Last day of the month, but she'll be here. She requested it. She said, could you please allow me to come in August, because I want to talk about sprouts. Well, we'll be talking to Dr. Vavavoom herself, Dr. Susan Smith-Jones, on Wednesday about these sprouts. And I'm interested to see how she is going to work that conversation in. You know, we have a gentleman, Curtis Dane, down there at the South Side, who every time we had one of our conferences was nice enough to come out. He taught us quite a bit about sprouts when we had him on our show, but that's 3 or 4 years ago. So we're going to get the straight stuff from you-know-who on Wednesday. You don't want to miss it. We'll be turning the page then by the time Wednesday rolls around, moving into September, and she will be back on the 7th of September with a previously scheduled engagement talking about spices that heal. I'm still talking about Dr. Susan Smith-Jones. We, of course, and keep this in mind, MCG testing, which we did initiate last week on Thursday the 25th. We had a number of patients come in and avail themselves of the opportunity to get MCG testing again, or in 2 cases, it was for the first time. Now, September 8th, we're scheduled to have a part 2 of MCG testing return. Many of you already know your status. We'll be contacting you. We have to switch the schedule around somewhat, and we're waiting to make certain that our machine is deliverable, the device itself. And so it puts us a little bit in peril. I'm just putting this out to you. If you are signed up to do MCG testing on the 8th, we have to get the go-ahead from the company that our device is going to be deliverable to us before the 8th, or we're going to have to completely change the date because it's our training day. We have to be trained on the exact same device that we purchased, and that put a hold on shipping those things. So I'm going to give you more information this week on that subject of MCG testing for the 8th. I'm just letting you know there is a potential hitch. Believe you me, I hate hitches, but I wanted to make you aware of the potential hitch. Stay tuned to the station. Stay tuned to the show. If you got any specific questions, you give us a call here at the office at 3002. On the 16th of the month, David Brownstein finally returns to talk about salting your way to health. And then the week, the Brian Peskin week. Now, you may want to hit the internet. BrianPeskin.com is the place to go. But he has provided a whole bunch of new information on the subject of the fish oils. You're going to, I don't know if you're going to like him or hate him. I'll tell you what, he's definitely got an acerbic personality. Acerbic, A-S-C. Acerbic personality. That's a nice way to phrase it. He's quite irritating, actually, and he speaks proud of it. Anyway, Brian Peskin week on 19, 21, and 23 of the month. Now, we do have a quick knock on the door. Come on in the store, early knocker. What's on your mind?
Hi, good morning.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, go right ahead.
I have a question. What is the name of the autoimmune disease that is people that have both hypo and hyperthyroid?
Yeah, there are two autoimmune diseases that you are speaking of.
I'm going to hang up. I'm driving in the car, so if you could address that, I'd appreciate it.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, the autoimmune diseases that the caller is requesting information about, really there are two main ones. They're either called Graves' disease or Hashimoto's disease, and it truly is a case where the person's immune system attacks their own thyroid gland, initially causing a hyperthyroid situation, but after the gland becomes extinguished, this then turns from a hyper, an overactive thyroid, to a completely done-in and dead thyroid. Now, being from western Pennsylvania, as you all are anyway, the regular way that hypothyroidism occurs is because of the lack of iodine in the diet. And of course, you are an indigenous area to no iodine in the soils, consequently no iodine to the foods, and over a time frame, you will absolutely suffer from the inability of the gland to produce a viable form of hormone, because the hormone that your gland makes has to be iodized by you in order to make it active, to be biologically active. And if you cannot provide it in your diet, then you cannot provide the means by which the iodization occurs. And if iodization does not occur, the thyroid hormone manufactured by your own thyroid gland becomes a dud. It does not work. This is why hypothyroid disease runs rampant in western Pennsylvania and a whole host of other states that surround Lake Erie. It's sort of the Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Ohio, Indiana, Michigan loop. And in that geological malformation that occurred, we got shortchanged on the ability to have iodine in our soils. And it is why the main reason, the number one reason for hypothyroidism is the dietary lack of iodine. But then there are a few, and it's not many, it's a very low number, but nonetheless, there's an additional insult that can occur because in some few people, they develop antibodies, their own immune system recognizes their thyroid as foreign, and so not only was it bad enough to have the gland, the hormone, not be able to be iodized, but this second insult completely wipes out any possibility of having viable and functioning thyroid hormone, because if you can have the immune system doing your own thyroid gland via those two diseases, the nuances of why one's called one way and one called the other really isn't pertinent here, but Hashimoto's disease and Graves' disease are the two terms provided by a medical community in terms of describing autoimmune-induced hypothyroidism. So I hope I've answered your question. Continue on to work. By the way, did your kiddies get off of school today? By the way, mine did. Big smile on my face. All right. What else? Oh, product-wise, the RTD dressings are still here. I've used them quite a bit. A little guy of mine, the youngest one, got quite a wound about 12 days ago. And it's actually 13 days. I know that because I took out the stitches last night. But this is a gaping wound, went all the way down to the muscular layers, just below the kneecap on the left leg. There needed to be 2 layers of sutures put in, the deeper layers of the subcutaneous, and then finally the skin itself. But I used the RTD dressing, this 4x4 pad that I could cut up, and probably made 3 different dressings out of each pad that I used. And you change the dressing once every 3 days. Now, my son isn't a diabetic, and so to the extent that it wasn't crucial or critical for him to have RTD dressings, I guess should be mentioned. But nonetheless, I saw this wound not even move anywhere toward any possibility of an infection at all, and I think it's for that very reason that I can attest to the fact, by using the dressing, my own family situation, that it's extremely helpful in a non-diabetic, which my son is, but it's going to be more helpful in those of you out there who may be diabetic, or if you have a diabetic member of your family. If a wound should ever develop, especially to the magnitude that this particular wound was in the little 12-year-old guy, then that particularly has a potential to produce a wound that will never heal in a diabetic, especially in a diabetic who has any aging to him at all, any advanced years. Peripheral vasculature literally gets shut down. You need to have RTD dressings on hand. I've spoken quite a bit about them. They're available here, and believe me, I don't believe you can get them any other place other than here. It's just we had an in with a supplier. They supply hospitals. They don't supply doctors' offices, but I felt I wanted to have that option available to my listeners, and so give us a call. We can send these dressings out, and hope they should be sitting in your medicine cabinet. Should you ever require them, just take a walk, cut a piece off, put it in place, and wait 3 days before you change it again. The other interesting product here, F3. We had Roland Thomas with us about a week ago, talking about really F3 from a whole different set of perspectives. I just look at it as the finest single supplement. All components of all supplements, at least the categories that you take them for, the multiple vitamins, the minerals, the enzymes, the essential fats. Never really found a particular supplement that had it all rolled into one. F3 does. It's a bioengineered algae concentrate from the work of Dr. Michael Kiriak. We've had him on the show. I know it was a difficult show. His English was quite a barrier that day, but at least we met the gentleman. And then finally, one that can't keep it enough in stock. It's flying off the shelves. It's the 4-to-1 oil, and it really has been the basis for a number of our shows. Will continue to be even today. 4-to-1 oil is the way to replace your fatty acids. It is not, and we'll get into it, I'm sure, again before the hour's up. It is not fish oil. Fish oil is absolutely not the way to do it. If it would just not be helpful alone, that would be one thing. But actually, the way we started this all with Ed Kane about a month ago was that fish oil is absolutely hazardous and harmful to your health, and we will pick up on that today. Okay. Let's do this much. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, I've got to come to something in the news. Front page, little piece on the bottom, and then in the city and region section, full page on, you guessed it, kids start today, right? What happens when kids go back to school? Well, there it was. Vaccines are in the news. We got to talk about it. Be right back in a moment.
This is Dennis J. Courtney, MD. You become confused about how best to manage your health. It's no wonder. It seems that every time you turn on the television or radio, another expert has yet another suggestion for you to follow that seems to be reasonable enough, but no matter how dutifully you follow the instruction, it just doesn't quite produce the results that you are looking for. If this confusion sounds familiar to you, give us a call at the Center for Complementary Health, where we'll make some sense of the confusion based on a blending of traditional and alternative medicine that we've been perfecting over the last 7 years. We offer metabolic nutrition testing, immune system repair, natural hormone replacement therapy, chelation therapy, cutting-edge allergy correction, and a host of other safe and effective alternative therapies.
Dennis J. Courtney, M.D. is located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray. Phone 724-942-3002.
Honey, just got the word. The company's new health plan has a $5,000 deductible. We have to make sure nobody gets sick this year. Remember what those doctor's visits cost for last year's colds and flu? Oh, sorry, I gotta go. Love you.
We can do this. We can cut the fast food lunches. Soda, that's a lot of sugar. We could all take that evening walk. And hey, I heard a program about fruit. Fruit of the spirit. What did they say? 1 ounce, the equivalent of 5 servings of fruits with herbs and minerals. We could add some to our breakfast protein shake. Fruit of the Spirit is a unique whole fruit puree. Fruit of the Spirit contains fresh fruits native to the Holy Land and alkalizing minerals from the Dead Sea. With no added sugars, Fruit of the Spirit's a unique product from 5 years of work from science-based nutritional experts. Call 1-800-442-3793 for a special promotional offer. Fruit of the Spirit, a blessing for your good health. Fruit of the Spirit, convenient, affordable, and delicious. That's 1-800-442-3793. Call them now, 1-800-442-3793.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back once again to AM Impact on Your Health. Heard here on KHB 620 each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9 o'clock. I'm Dr. Dennis Courtney with you today on a Monday version of the show. Hope you had a good weekend. I think the people along the East Coast had a very exciting one. And even those little bands, they came. I was out in the mountains this weekend, and it's completely overcast, really dark and threatening clouds. So were the bands. They made it all this way. The bands that spilled off of the Hurricane Irene actually came this far. You never saw them here in Pittsburgh, but if you're out in the ridges, you absolutely did. No rain came from them. It's just it looked awful threatening. Now, today we've opened it up to you. You can call in on any matter whatsoever. 412-825-6262 is that number. We're going to be talking about trying to bring the fish oil stories to tie them together, make the point in some logical way, and hopefully if you can understand my logic, it will be helpful to you. But this conversation can shift any direction you'd like to take it just by giving us a call, knock on the door, and I will let you in the store. 412-825-6262 is the number to be able to do that. Now, I want to spend a moment. Call me, suspicious, conspiratorial-minded, sinister-minded, but I swear to God, I think that they got us. They got a hold of us. On Friday, I brought to you a story about vaccines, and what it was talking about. Well, I've got the byline right in front of me. Serious side effects study. Serious side effects from vaccine rare. And it went on to describe an agency, and I keep seeing that name come up over and over again, called the Institute of Medicine, that was ruling in on the possible harm that could come to you from vaccines, and it was being used. Let's see, will be used to help. The Institute of Medicine's report will be used to help administering claims through the Vaccine Injury Compensation Program, which was established in 1986. Now, this is old news. I brought the article to your attention on Friday. Little did I know, of course, school coming back into play, little kiddies going off to school. Little did I know until I opened my Sunday paper. So there it was, front page down at the bottom, a little thing on the front page, but then if you went to the city and region section of the Trib, it was a full page on vaccines. And you're not going to convince me that it was coincidental that on Friday we talked about, we saw how vaccines weren't harmful to us at all. So said the Institute of Medicine, because they said that the report found, and this is the part that really scalded me, the report found evidence that various vaccines can produce a range of side effects, usually minor, such as, and this was the last sentence of the article on Friday, such as fainting or soreness at the injection site. And with that, I became speechless because those people at the Institute of Medicine had reduced these very serious consequences of potential consequences, I guess is a fair way to put it, from vaccines to such minor a role as some fainting, which, when people see needles, they faint, or soreness at the injection site. It was a scam, it was a sham, and once again, Institute of Medicine was weighing in, as they usually had done. They did so with mammography a number of years ago. I told you about this Institute of Medicine. Well, here comes articles on Sunday's paper talking about, vaccines are back in the news because, you see, we have a new thing going on this year. It only happens every so often, but that is, not only is there an issue with vaccines by enrolling your child, your first grader, in a school district where you'll have to confront this vaccine issue, but if you've got a 7th grader in any school district in the state of Pennsylvania, you have another issue now dumped in your lap, because the new state recommendations say that if you're in 7th grade, you have to have, number 1, a booster tetanus shot, number 2, meningitis vaccine, number 3, measles, mumps, and rubella, and number 4, chicken pox. These are going to be brought to your attention by the health offices in all of your school districts. So get ready. They're coming. And they are not taking no for an answer. Now, I will say that with respect to the article, there was a phrase in the article which said parents have the ability to opt out based on religious and or personal objections, which I think was wonderful, because I think it's the first time I've ever seen an article actually mention that it is your right. And so they should have elaborated on it more, but they did not. But they mentioned it, that it is your right as a citizen of Pennsylvania to refuse vaccines. Now, for those of you who have kids in the school district, let me just tell you this. You aren't going to be counseled by the school district health offices in your options. When you get contacted by the school districts to comply with the first grade rule, which will already have to be complied with in order to enroll your child in the first grade, or now you're a 7th grader, because your kid's been in school for 6 years, now going to the 7th grade, you figured, well, the vaccine issue is now over. And it's not over. If you have a 7th grader, it will be on the plate and served up to you this year. You will have to do something about it. And you'll need to know your rights as a citizen of Pennsylvania if you should choose that you don't want to vaccinate. Now, if you choose and want to vaccinate, well, that's great. And the school districts will be more compliant and even more compliant with you, seeing that you step in line with what the political climate is and determining that you must be vaccinated. But if you have had a mind change, which in my case, my own children's case, I've got 4 boys. I think you've heard me tell you many times that the 2 oldest boys, now one 23, one 19, at a particular stage in my medical evolution and development, they had them all vaccines that they should have had when it was time to go to school. They had them all. I apologize to them every time this comes up, but it was where I was on the vaccine story at the time that they were entering school. But these 2 younger ones, now 12 and 14, that's a little different story, because they absolutely have had no vaccines at all whatsoever, nor will they. And it was interesting too when I took the 12-year-old to get the wound sutured at St. Clair Hospital. The nurse wanted to know what the status of tell me about his vaccine schedule. I said, look, the child has had no vaccines. She said, no, I'm sorry. What I mean is, the vaccines he has to have to go to school. That's the vaccines I'm asking you about. And I go, hey, I've told you. This child has had no vaccines and won't be getting any vaccines. And she walked away a little, she looked a little confused. She knew I was a physician, and I heard her mumbling on the way out of the room. So I've had a recent reminder of the vaccine history, even in my own family. But when I enrolled these two little guys in their elementary school for the first year, I recalled the story, and today's a perfect day to recall it again, because no one was ever telling us that we had options. I stepped up to the desk in the office in the summer, and I was talking to a secretary in the office there. And so I explained to her, look, my little kids need to enroll here for your elementary school. And she said, well, look, I'll need two things. I'll need a copy of their birth certificate, and I need proof of vaccination and the schedule that these children have been on to receive those vaccines. So I said, you know what? On the number one, here it is. Here is the birth certificate. But on the number two, they don't have vaccines. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to be able to declare my philosophical objection to the use of vaccines. Could you please give me the form that I can use to be able to do that? Now, she didn't bat an eyelash. She didn't ponder. She didn't bemuse. She said, oh, let me get you that form. I mean, she knew immediately what I was talking about. When everybody else in the school district didn't seem to know a doggone thing about it, this secretary knew absolutely everything about it. And she came back. She said, here you go. Here's the form. And so I looked at it, and I read the form, and I said, you know what? This isn't the form. She said, oh, what do you mean? I said, well, this is a form that I need to sign if I have a religious objection to the use of vaccines. And I don't have a religious objection to the use of vaccines. I have a philosophical objection. She goes, oh, I don't know. I don't know about that. I said, I'll tell you what. You have a health office here. You have a nurse's office. It was in the middle of summer, folks. There was no nurse around. She said, oh, yeah, absolutely. We have a nurse's office. And I go, well, she has these forms in her desk, and the forms that are in her desk are probably the ones that I need, not this form asking for me to declare my religious objection to the use of vaccines. And without batting an eyelash again, without pondering a moment, she hustled on off to the nurse's office, and she, within moments, came back with another form. And that form was the correct form. I thanked her immensely for it. I filled that form out, which asked me for my philosophical objection. And believe me, there's just a blank line there. I want to declare my philosophical objection to the use of vaccines in my child for these reasons. And the reason can be, I don't like the color of the moon. I don't like the color of the vaccine. I don't like where they may come from. It doesn't matter what you put in that line. It's your personal reason. And whatever it is, it has to be accepted by a governmental agency, and it was just as easy as that. Now, I'll tell you, parents out there, especially parents of 7th graders, the issue of vaccines is going to come up. It's going to come up because the Institute of Medicine, now there they were in the Sunday article, just like they were in the Friday article. The Institute of Medicine say these are very, very safe, and if you feel that they are safe and you want to get your child vaccinated, you will have no trouble being able to comply with it, and that is your personal choice, and that is absolutely, I feel strongly about that. But if, on the other hand, you do not want to vaccinate your child, you will not be told and advised that you have an option. Instead, what I have found is that the administrative staffs, the principals, certainly the nurse, will badger you and tell you you must vaccinate your child if this child is going to continue in school. And you will not be able to come back until you show proof of vaccination. They will not say, By the way, do you know that you do have an option in the state of Pennsylvania to declare your religious and philosophical objection? You will not hear that from the administrative staffs of these schools, whether they're now in the middle school for the 7th graders or the elementary school. You have to know that on your own already, and you have to go in and declare, and as easily as it is done, where a secretary, without batting an eye, can get you the right forms in your hand. She seems to know what's going on. Yet if you're going to be talking to a principal or a person who's responsible or a superintendent of a school district, and they absolutely know about the law, they will not tell you or advise you in any way that you have any other option other than to comply with vaccine schedules as they are published by the state. So, was it a coincidence that on Friday we got the article from, it was in the Trib about the Institute of Medicine saying that all vaccines were safe? And then on Sunday we got another full-page ad about why you're going to have to get your vaccines now. And oh, by the way, in the article it mentioned that the Institute of Medicine, this wonderful organization, which I've called medical hacks, used by governmental agencies when they want to become onerous, as if to say, well, the Institute of Medicine said they were safe, and don't trust them. I just don't trust them. So, I'll climb down off of the high horse. I'll come back down on the ground now. I'm letting you know the vaccine wars will begin. If you've got a 7th grader in any of the school districts in the state of Pennsylvania, you'll be hearing about this from your health offices. Be ready. If you want to comply, great. But if you don't, you're going to have to know your rights as a Pennsylvania citizen. I do not believe that you're going to be told by anybody in a position of authority at the schools themselves that you do have a right to opt out, as they say, for religious and personal reasons. We'll let it go at that. Okay. Let's take a short break. When we return, you may want to weigh in, on anything. Could be thyroid, could be vaccines, it could be, of all things, fish oils. We'll be back in a moment to try to pull that together.
Have you been to the doctor lately? Was fatigue top of your complaint list? Even if your doctor asks you what you eat, the recommended 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day is a dream in your busy schedule. What if you learned of a product 5 years in the formulation that delivers 5 servings of fruits and minerals in just 1 ounce? That's right, it's Fruit of the Spirit. The blessings of Fruit of the Spirit are now formulated into a delicious whole fruit puree product rich in antioxidants and minerals. Your health is more than just a test result. It's a balance of physical, spiritual, and emotional factors. You work regularly to strengthen your faith. Let Fruit of the Spirit help cover your nutritional needs in a convenient and cost-effective ounce a day. Call 1-800-442-3793 for a special promotional offer. Fruit of the Spirit, a blessing for your good health. Fruit of the Spirit, 5 servings of fruits and minerals with no added sugars. That's 1-800-442-3793 for your good health. Call them now, 1-800-442-3793.
This is Dennis J. Courtney, MD. Have you become confused about how best to manage your health? It's no wonder. It seems that every time you turn on the television or radio, another expert has yet another suggestion for you to follow that seems to be reasonable enough, but no matter how dutifully you follow the instruction, it just doesn't quite produce the results that you are looking for. If this confusion sounds familiar to you, give us a call at the Center for Complementary Health, where we'll make some sense of the confusion based on a blending of traditional and alternative medicine that we've been perfecting over the last 7 years. We offer metabolic nutrition testing, immune system repair, natural hormone replacement therapy, chelation therapy, cutting-edge allergy correction, and a host of other safe and effective alternative therapies.
Dennis J. Courtney, MD, is located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray. Phone 724-942-3002.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back once again to An Impact on Your Health here on a Monday morning version of the show. Kitty's back to school today. Parents, get ready for the 7th grade onslaught. with the vaccines. There'll be more about this. We'll talk it as you'll see that the one article will not suffice in our local newspapers. The issue of vaccines will be in the air for quite some time. What's also been in the air, because I've been bringing it to you over the airways, has been this discussion of fish oils. You may have had opinions on it and not weighed in. If you'd like to today, anything on your mind is okay with me. 412-825-6262 is the number to do that. That's 412-825-6262. If I had to take today, to try to pull many of these things together as I see them, and of course that's how I see them, and it doesn't mean that you've necessarily been able to follow me in the way that I would have intended you to be able to do so. Nonetheless, there is a message here. There's a very powerful message, and I'm going to try to pull the pieces of this fish oil controversy together in order to at least make some sense out of this circuitous. You know, we do a show one day, and then 4 days gets lost, and we end up doing another. And sometimes, patients don't listen to all shows, and listeners don't listen to all shows. And so to try to put it together in one show in one short period of time may be helpful. So as I looked at the calendar, I saw way back on July 20th, we did our first show on fish oils. It was the first time we invited Edward Kane to our show. Ed Kane, of course, along with his wife Patricia Kane, have been involved with the treatment of neurological diseases for years, and the use of the fatty acid profile, which can be obtained at the Johns Hopkins Medical Center, Johns Hopkins University, has enabled them to help many people over many, many years. But the issue of treating these neurological diseases has surfaced and centered around the appropriate fatty acid content in the body. And it's not, therefore, a mystery on how it would be that you would find Ed Kane and Patricia Kane at the front of the line talking about the best way to replace those fatty acids. And this is why we opened up our July 20th show talking about probably the way not to. The way we described it was fish oils are harmful to your health, or hazardous to your health. And Edward Kane brought the message to us about the use of fish oil, and the reason that it was harmful, as he claimed, was that it disturbs a very, very important mantle of arachidonic acid. Now, arachidonic acid is one of the 3 eicosanoids, and it is found in a very small percentage in the human body. 0.5%, 0.5% of the EPA of the eicosanoids of EPA is one of the 3 eicosanoids that comprise the prostaglandin system. Is supposed to be, EPA is supposed to be in a quantity of 0.5%. Yet to take fish oils, which are so super concentrated in both DHA and EPA, you can and will easily disturb that delicate mantle. So said Ed Kane, and for that reason he felt that fish oils were harmful based on, over time, the ability to disturb the delicate relationship of the 0.5% of your eicosanoids made up of EPA will absolutely shift, and if it shifts, it's going to change one of the other eicosanoids, which is arachidonic acid, and let me just say, you don't want to do that. Now, we'll take this caller, we'll come back and try to relive and rehash what we learned from Edward, and we'll move on from that point. But with a knock on the door, come on in the store, hello, and what's on your mind, what can we help you with?
Hello, Dr. Courtney.
Hi.
It's the subject you're on right now, basically.
Oh, okay, good.
Is krill oil as bad as fish oil?
Krill oil is a fish.
That's the last I thought.
It's a crustacean fish. I think one of the reasons why Joe Mercola, I think, Dr. Joe Mercola, has been a big proponent of the use of krill oil. These are crustaceans that feed off of plants.
Yeah,
And
right.
and so, as a result, they don't undergo the fish form of the of fish oil, because a small fish gets eaten by a larger fish that gets eaten by a larger one, and it just keeps going up the food chain. And whatever mercury burden the fish may have, it just keeps getting more concentrated as the larger fish then consumes the smaller, until you get up to the huge fish. All that mercury is wrapped up within the fish, and so it really is a case to be made for why you don't want to be taking any byproduct from these larger fish, let alone the fish oils. But at least from the krill oil viewpoint, it was loaded with EPA and DHA, tremendous amounts, yet this supposedly was uncontaminated. That was the theory behind it. I say that was probably a correct theory, that more than likely doctors like Joe Mercola are correct, but they're missing the broader point. It's the fish oil itself. And krill oil is a fish oil just like salmon fish oil or any other fish. It's fish oil, it's EPA and DHA, the exact same form of it that is found in any of those sea animals.
Okay, if you don't mind, I have one other question.
Go ahead.
With our diet so concentrated or overwhelmed with the omega-6s, do we need more omega-3s right now so we get in balance
Well,
with the 4-to-1 ratio, or do we just go with the 4-to-1 ratio now and will it take care of itself?
that is such an on-point question. I believe what you just said is the reason that we've arrived to the point we have, because somebody 30 or 40 years ago came to us and said just what you did. Look, our Western diet, they told us, was overburdened with omega-6s and way underrepresented by omega-3s. So it only makes sense. By the way, it did. It only would make sense then that if your diet is so underrepresented in omega-3s, you need a very good source of omega-3s in order to balance this out. And we're going to, whoever we were at the time, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, we are going to recommend that you do replace your omega-3s with fish oil. That's a wonderful way of getting your omega-3s, and we bought into it. There was no science that talked to us about this. It was a rationale. The rationale made some sense. It said, our Western diet is overburdened with omega-6s. We knew you needed omega-6s and omega-3s, so industry at the time, the pharmaceutical or the supplement industry, went into this fish oil overdrive because of that particular adage that you brought to us a moment ago. Overrepresentation of omega-6s in the diet, therefore we must conclude that we have to replace our omega-3s to balance it, and that was the wrong conclusion. Two reasons for why it was wrong, if you allow me. One, we need to have a diet overrepresented in omega-6s than omega-3s, as we now know, thanks to Dr. Yehuda, where we found out we need at least a 4-to-1 ratio of omega-6s to omega-3s. That's the first bit of scientific information that we now have that we didn't have before. And the second is that this form of EPA and DHA are so high up in the hierarchy of fatty acids, they're unreal, ultra, super concentrated amounts of fatty acids, and your body cannot handle them, should not see them. And if you take fish oil in any way, shape, or form, you are bombarding your body with a degree of very sophisticated fatty acids in the form of omega-3s that your body doesn't need, can't handle, and there'll be a price and a consequence to pay for it. So, with that simple question you asked, have I answered it straight on, point on?
Well, you answered in respect not to take fish oil, but at the time, should we take, like, instead of a 4-to-1 ratio, a 6s to 3s, I mean, more flax oil, something to...
Let's just say, don't disturb even if you're taking parent oil. So now we get down to the other portion of this, which is, all right, what do you take?
Right.
Okay, so Yehuda told us that we need a 4-to-1 ratio of omega-6 to omega-3. Very good. That the omega-6 should be parent oils, and omega-3s, by the way, and the parent oils the lowest on the rung, the basement form of fatty acids are primrose oil, sunflower oil. These are parent oils, okay? And your body will make of them whatever they need to make from them, but you can only supply the body with the parent, never with the derivative. And the omega-3 side, the best way and the parent oil that represents the omega-3 should be flaxseed oil. Now, I think here's the answer to your question directly. Do not overburden yourself with the flaxseed oil. In other words, you better maintain this 4-to-1 ratio, yes, because if you even take a parent oil and you're taking flax oil, which is pure, it's not from a fish, so you're not having problems with the high concentrations of EPA and DHA, both of which are omega-3s, but they're too far up, too sophisticated omega-3. But even if you take parent oil, flaxseed, omega-3, you will disturb the ratio, and there's a consequence to that. So be certain that your diet, the first question you posed, the rationale was, our diet is way overrepresented in omega-6s and not in omega-3s. And that's correct. But that's absolutely the way it needs to be. Your diet better be overrepresented in omega-6s and underrepresented, although you need them, in omega-3s to maintain that ratio. So the original premise of 40 years ago that moved us toward trying to replace our omega-3s was a bad assumption. If we would have used the parent oils and kept the ratio there at 4-to-1 or 6-to-1 or whatever it was, kept the omega-3s at a low level, instead of bringing in these very powerful and potent omega-3s, we would not have a health consequence to pay for it. I hope I didn't confuse you. I hope I answered your question. Did I?
Yes, you have. Second other thing, also, that's quick.
Go ahead.
No, Dr. Yehuda.
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 Uh-huh. What about Dr. Yehuda?
I just wanted to Google him to get some more information.
Okay, well, let me tell you, his name is, I'm looking at the article right now, sort of pulling it up. His name is Shlomo Yehuda. First name Shlomo. And the last name is spelled Yehuda, Yehuda. Now, if you Google that up, I'm sure it's going to take you to a number of references that you can check out. I will tell you, as maybe you already knew, but if not, I've got all of his papers here right in front of me, and I've told our listeners that if they'd like to have the scientific information that I have, all they have to do is send me a self-addressed stamped envelope. We'll send you a copy of all of Yehuda's papers and his initial paper in toto, his 1994 paper that kicked it all off. I've got a copy of it. I'll be happy to pass it to you, and I've got the abstracts of all the other research studies that have been done on this subject since Yehuda that back him up.
Oh, thank you very much. What is your address?
3075 Washington Road in McMurray, McMurray, in McMurray, PA. The zip code is 15317. That's 3075 Washington Road, McMurray, Pennsylvania, zip code 15317. Send a self-addressed stamped envelope. We'll be happy to send you on a copy of the Yehuda file. I'll call it the Yehuda file from there. Okay?
All right. Thank you very much.
You are welcome. Okay. Very good set of questions, and it really got to the crux of this issue, I think, on how we got astray, how we wandered back there in the 1970s and 1980s when this whole thing with the fish oil got started. By the way, got started in Scandinavian countries. I wonder why. Let's take a short break. When we come back, you may have another knock on the door. In the meantime, 412-825-6262 is the number, 412-825-6262. Trying to put together a picture of this fish oil controversy and pulling it all together. Be right back in a moment.
This is Dennis J. Courtney, MD. Have you become confused about how best to manage your health? It's no wonder. It seems that every time you turn on the television or radio, another expert has yet another suggestion for you to follow that seems to be reasonable enough, but no matter how dutifully you follow the instruction, it just doesn't quite produce the results that you were looking for. If this confusion sounds familiar to you, give us a call at the Center for Complementary Health, where we'll make some sense of the confusion based on a blending of traditional and alternative medicine that we've been perfecting over the last 7 years. We offer metabolic nutrition testing, immune system repair, natural hormone replacement therapy, chelation therapy, cutting-edge allergy correction, and a host of other safe and effective alternative therapies.
Dennis J. Courtney, M.D., is located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray. Phone 724-942-3002.
Want to help your family eat healthier? Instead of learning to disguise tofu in wondrous ways, how about some real nutritional power? If your family has the typical American palate for fries, pizza, and burgers, giving your family the blessing of good nutrition is a struggle. Fruit of the Spirit is the answer for your family's nutritional needs. Fruit of the Spirit is an all-natural, whole fruit puree made from fresh fruits native to the Holy Land with alkalizing minerals. Fruit of the Spirit was 5 years in the formulation, the work of a team of top nutritional experts with independent science to confirm its antioxidant power. 1 ounce a day provides the equivalent of 5 servings of fruits and minerals. Fruit of the Spirit is convenient, affordable, and delicious. Even your picky family will sing the praises of Fruit of the Spirit. Give your loved ones the blessing of good nutrition. Call 1-800-442-3793 for a special promotional offer. Fruit of the Spirit, a blessing for your good health. That's 1-800-442-3793. Call them now, 1-800-442-3793.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back once again to AM Impact on Your Health. Here in a Monday morning version of the show, we're trying to pull the fish oil stories together. We talked pretty much now about how it all got started. The fact that Ed Kane brought us the first information that fish oils weren't too good for us. And then we shifted gears a bit around here, and we went into a discussion that at the time, I'm sure you wonder, well, where's he going with this fish oil thing? Because the next set of shows that we worked with had to do with cancer. And I came up with a statement saying there's only one cause for cancer, and there's only one way to prevent a cancer. And this all went back to the work of Dr. Otto Warburg, Nobel Prize winner for this very theory that has never been disproven, which essentially said this is the actual quotation. Dr. Otto Warburg discovered, then clearly and simply stated that the prime cause of cancer is oxygen deprivation at the cellular level. We find, he went on to say, we find by experiment about 35% inhibition of oxygen respiration already suffices to bring about such a transformation during cell growth. Just 1/3 less cellular oxygen than normal, and you contract cancer. This is based on the meticulous experiments by Warburg, discovered that the prime cause of cancer is sustaining a 35% inhibition of cellular respiration. And I thought this was another telling statement. In America, seminal experiments in 53 and 55 confirmed that decrease of standard cellular oxygen, and here is the word, always induces cancer. Always induces cancer. So, if this be true, and it has never been proven not to be, all that other stuff about the genetics and all fruits and vegetables and take soy, and they even said fish oil prevents it, and the list just keeps going on and on about everything that has been disproven, and they all have. The one premise that has never been disproven is the Otto Warburg premise. Therefore, you better be able, and you should be attempting, those of you who are health-oriented, trying to give yourself an advantage by how you supplement, how you take them, and how you prepare for your own health issues in the future. You must make certain that the ability to transport oxygen into the cell is maintained at the highest level of efficiency. Your ability to get oxygen into the cell is what's going to determine whether or not you can protect yourself against cancer. Now, if that's true, and it appears as it is, and it has never been disproven, and that Otto Warburg's work of cellular deprivation of oxygen below a 35% threshold is what you absolutely never want to have happen, then it's the integrity of the membrane that will be what separates the potential to develop cancer from never being able to develop it at all. And that has to do with fats. And that has to do with this big discussion we've had ever since we raised the discussion with fish oils on July 20 when Ed came. We'll have more discussions about fish oils and fats and so forth, but the big clincher that I was hoping to pull together for you was to show you the relationship between fats that you consume and the integrity of that cell membrane. You better be consuming fats in a ratio of 4 to 1 of omega-6 to omega-3, linoleic to alpha-linolenic, which would be primrose, sunflower versus with flaxseed oil, in a concentration enough to maintain the integrity of those cells. You bring in other fatty acids, you bring in the EPAs and DHAs, you completely disturb the integrity of the cell membrane. Okay, bongos in the background say it's our time out of here. Hope you've enjoyed pulling it together today with me. We'll see you on Wednesday. Dr. Vavavoom is here. She wants to talk about sprouts. We'll be sprouting on Wednesday. Be back with us, please. See you then.
Impact on Your Health is sponsored by Dennis J. Courtney, M.D., Director of the Courtney Medical Group, located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray, Pennsylvania. For more information or to make an appointment, call 724-942-3002. That's